Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to our channel, the Eaton Squad. My name is Addie. So for today's video is the latest Iatf guidelines for January 16th until January the 31st of 2022. On this video, I am going to show you guys the new list of red list countries, green list countries, quarantine protocols for green, yellow, and red list countries. All of that details coming right up. So today the Iatf has just released the new guidelines for January 16th until January the 31st of 2022. We have new countries on the red list. We have a total of 14 countries on the red list. You will be shocked from one of the countries that is listed in there under the red list. I will be showing you guys that here shortly. And we also have the green list countries. They have updated the list on that too. And there are new protocols for quarantine to all permitted travelers to the Philippines, coming from the green list, coming from the yellow list, and coming from the red list. And the mandatory RT-PCR test has also changed for this period. So let's get started. So let's start with red list countries effective from January 16th until January the 31st. Here are the following: Antigua or Barbuda, Curacao, Malta, Puerto Rico in US, Spain, Aruba, French Guiana, Mayotte, I'm not sure if that's how it pronounce it, Saudi Arabia, US Virgin Islands, Canada, Iceland, Mozambique, and Somalia. I am quite surprised that Canada was put under the red list. I did not know that Canada is having a surge or that many cases right now, but unfortunately, Canada is on the red list. So on to the green list. The following are the green list countries: Bangladesh, British Virgin Islands, Djibouti, the Gambia, Hong Kong. This is for Chinese Special Administrative Region. Japan, Montserrat, Oman, Sabah. This is the Special Municipality of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Sierra Leone, Timor-Leste or East Timor. Benin, China, of course, the mainland, is still on the green list. Equatorial Guinea, Ghana, India, Kosovo, Morocco, Pakistan, Saint Bartholomew, Saint Eustatius, Uganda, Bhutan, Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, Falkland Islands, Guinea, Indonesia, Kyrgyzstan, Niger, Paraguay, Senegal, and Thailand. I am so sorry if I was having a hard time reading them, but these are the current green list countries for January 16th until January the 31st of 2022. So the yellow list countries will be the countries that are not listed on the red list and on the green list. So if you are coming from a country that you can't see the list on the red list and you can't see the list on the green list, then you belong to the yellow list. For example, the USA. The USA is nowhere on the red list. The USA is nowhere on the green list. So USA is on the yellow list. So these are the updated countries for green, yellow, red list countries, territories, or jurisdictions for the period of January 16th until January the 31st of 2022. Now let's go over to the quarantine protocols for the following jurisdictions and territories. Let's start with the green list. The protocols for green list countries, jurisdictions, territories, and all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follow. For fully vaccinated international arriving passengers, negative RT-PCR test taken 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. So before, it was 72 hours prior to departure. Now, The Philippines is changing this protocol. The Philippines is changing this mandatory RT-PCR test. Now you have to take it 48 hours prior to departure. So please take note of that. Upon arrival, they shall no longer be required to observe mandatory facility-based quarantine. Shall monitor for any signs or symptoms for 7 days, with the first being the date of arrival. Good news to those who are coming from the green list, fully vaccinated, there will be no quarantine for you guys anymore. You will be required for the negative 48 hours RT-PCR test from the country of origin, but you guys go straight home when you arrive to the Philippines and self-monitor for any symptoms of the COVID-19. So, no quarantine for you guys anymore. The protocols for green list countries, territories in all ports of entry into the Philippines shall be as follows for unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or individuals whose vaccination status cannot be independently validated. Negative RT-PCR test taken 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Required to undergo facility-based quarantine until the release of their negative RT-PCR test taken on the 5th day. Self-monitor for any symptoms for 14 days, with the first day being the date of arrival. So if you are one of those permitted travelers from the green list, unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, you will have to quarantine for 5 days. Your swab test will be on the 5th day, and when it turns out negative, you will be sent home. They did not even say that you have to undergo home quarantine anymore. You will just have to self-monitor for any symptoms of COVID-19. So please take note of these major changes for quarantine protocols to all travelers coming from the green list who are fully vaccinated and unvaccinated. Let's go over to the yellow list quarantine protocols. The protocols for yellow list countries, jurisdiction, territories in all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follows. For fully vaccinated individuals, negative RT-PCR test taken within 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Upon arrival, they shall undergo facility-based quarantine with an RT-PCR test taken on the 5th day, with the date of arrival being the 1st day. Once with a negative result, they may be released for the completion of home quarantine up to 7th day from the date of the arrival. So for fully vaccinated travelers to the Philippines coming from the yellow list, you will still have to quarantine for 5 days. Your swab test is on the 5th day. Once with a negative result, you will be sent home for home quarantine up to the 7th day. So please take note of this to all permitted travelers coming from the yellow list who are fully vaccinated. So there's quite a bit of changes because you are not going to quarantine up to the 14th day anymore. They actually shorten it up to the 7th day. So you only have 2 days for home quarantine if you are fully vaccinated coming from the yellow list. The protocols for yellow list countries, jurisdictions, territories in all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follows for unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or individuals whose vaccination status cannot be independently validated. Negative RT-PCR test taken within 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Upon arrival, they shall undergo facility-based quarantine with an RT-PCR test done on the 7th day, with the date of arrival being the 1st day. Once with a negative result, they may be released for completion of home quarantine up to the 14th day from the date of arrival. So to those unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or the vaccination records or vaccination card cannot be validated by the Bureau of Quarantine, your quarantine will be 7 days. Your swab test is on the 7th day. Once with a negative RT-PCR test result, home quarantine up to the 14th day. So please take note of this so you guys don't get confused. For fully vaccinated coming from the yellow list, that's 5 days quarantine, hotel quarantine, 2 days home quarantine. For unvaccinated, partially vaccinated traveler from the yellow list, 7 days hotel quarantine, 7 days home quarantine. So please take note of that. The protocols for red list countries, jurisdiction, territories, and all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follows. The inbound international travel of all persons coming from or who have been to red list countries, jurisdiction, territories within the last 14 days prior to arrival to any port of the Philippines shall be allowed. The protocol for red list countries, jurisdictions, territories, in all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follows. Negative RT-PCR test taken within 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Upon arrival, they shall undergo facility-based quarantine with an RT-PCR test taken on the 7th day, with the date of arrival being the 1st day. Once with negative result, they may be released from facility quarantine, provided the completion of home quarantine up to the 14th day from the date of arrival. Oh, this is actually good news for red list countries. Because before, if a country is on the red list, only Filipino citizens are allowed to enter the Philippines. This is not the case anymore for these guidelines for January 16th through the 31st. You guys are still actually allowed to enter the Philippines. There will be no government-initiated flights, bayanihan flights, because there will be regular flights coming from the red list country. Your quarantine protocol, you will quarantine for 7 days. Once with negative RT-PCR test result, your home quarantine will be 7 days also. So that's actually a huge change for red list protocols and quarantine guidelines. So please take note of that. So it's not really that bad at all. Like for example, Canada is on the red list, so they're not really banning any flights coming from Canada. You guys can still enter. Filipino citizens, balikbayans, foreign nationals with valid and existing visa, you can still enter. You are still allowed to enter the Philippines, just following the quarantine protocols, 7 days hotel quarantine and 7 days home quarantine. And that is for fully vaccinated travelers coming from the red list. Now let's go over to the protocols of unvaccinated, partially vaccinated travelers. The protocols for red list countries, jurisdictions, territories, in all ports of entry in the Philippines shall be as follows. For unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, and individuals whose vaccination status cannot be independently validated. Negative RT-PCR test within 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Upon arrival, they shall undergo facility-based quarantine with an RT-PCR test done on the 7th day, with the date of arrival being the 1st day. They may be discharged only upon the completion of a 10 days facility-based quarantine, regardless of a negative RT-PCR result, and shall observe home quarantine until the 14th day, with the date of arrival being the 1st day. So, let me explain that. For unvaccinated, permitted travelers to the Philippines coming from the red list, your quarantine will be 10 days. So, your booking will be 10 days. You will be swabbed on the 7th day. But regardless of your result, regardless if it's negative result, you will have to stay up to the 10th day. Then you will continue home quarantine up to the 14th day. So, unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or those vaccination card cannot be validated by the Bureau of Quarantine, 10 days hotel quarantine, 4 days home quarantine. Negative pre-departure RT-PCR test taken 72 hours prior to departure shall be honored until January 19th of 2022. So, to those who are still planning to travel to the Philippines, the 72 hours still applies, but it's only until January 19th. Though the new guidelines will start on January 16th, if you guys have the 72-hour negative RT-PCR test, they will still honor it until January 19th of 2022. So a lot of changes from the new IATF guidelines for January 16th through January 31st. Don't worry, I will have a separate video for the latest arrival protocols for green list, yellow list, and red list. I am actually quite surprised what they have done on the protocol for the red list country. It's actually not that strict, to be honest. And like I said, I will have a video for each territories, jurisdictions of red, yellow, and green list country for you guys. So you guys will know what's the latest arrival protocols for you if you are coming from the green list, yellow list, and red list country. So these are the changes. These are the new IATF guidelines for the month of January, for the period of January 16th until the 31st of 2022. So please be guided. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, or inquiries with regards to this video or any of our travel related videos, please comment it down below and I will get back to you guys as soon as I can. Or you can direct message me in our Facebook page and Instagram, same handle, the Eaton Squad. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for the continued support and trust to our channel, the Eaton Squad. I hope to see you on our next travel update. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone. Bye.